Flory Models Daily Vlog. Here we are on Friday the 24th of June 2016 after a lovely day off. Okay, the weather could have been better. It's a bit cloudy, but Mel still managed to get sunburnt. I didn't. Trust, there's a story to that, but we won't go into it. I had like a factor 1 million on. It was like emulsion. I was like a corpse on the beach. Anyway, this is how the day started. Hello, welcome to Flory Models Daily Vlog. Here we're on Friday. Great day off yesterday. To be honest, a total day off. I let in a couple of members, I think, in the morning. We left here by 7 o'clock in the morning. We're in Weymouth by 9. Lovely breakfast. Out with the family all day on the beach and all the bits and pieces. All right, the weather didn't play ball, but it was nice, it was warm, and I didn't get burnt. Okay, so yes, I could do with a little bit of sun. There's a story to this, but we'll do that on another day. But generally, it was lovely to have a nice day out with the family. Back this morning, to be honest, I have literally just finished doing the emails. It's like now coming up 5 to 10. Because obviously it was a full day. I didn't do them yesterday, so apologies. So if you haven't had an email reply from me and you shot me up very late on Wednesday night through Thursday and haven't had a reply yet, shoot it to me again. It's obviously been buried in there. I think I've gone through everybody's. We sorted out any membership problems and all the bits and pieces just like that and through. The other thing, do have to mention, I love the voting. This is great. Actually, it was worse than this not 10 minutes ago when I looked at it before, because it was for the actual voting for what next bit of armour we're going to be doing. So we're going to do a chieftain, because obviously we're in theme with the SIG that's going to be starting soon. So it was either going to do the Mark II, 5, 10 or 11, and I said to you on the previous vlog, right, what would you like me to do? So consequently, everybody voted for the Mark 10 because you wanted to see in the Berlin colours. It's buried, I was going to get the kit. Okay, we'll get it out later. So anyway, it's pretty much a winner. So it did have 78% of the vote. Or 77% of the vote earlier. Anyway, it's down to 75. We've had a bit of a run now coming up there for the Mark V. It's got an extra vote because as of this morning it had one lonely vote, generally working its way through. So it looks like it's going to be the Mark 10. Don't forget, you can affect this. We've had, what, 100 votes on that now. So if you wanted to, you could get in there and vote. Probably by the time you've seen this, it won't have changed much, I wouldn't have thought. It seems to be a bit of a thing. It's a nice camo. I know a lot of people have said it's been done to death, but everyone's going to have a different way of doing it. Some people are just going to masking tape it and spray it. Others I think are going to be a little bit more careful. Others are going to make it a little bit more sort of, you know, different in the colours perhaps they use and with the weathering techniques and everything else. The great thing I like about the urban colours is you've got all the different colours. So one, it's going to look quite attractive, something a little bit different. But also, when you're doing with sort of urban environment armour, it's a different type of weathering. It's not thick mud caked on and all the rest of it, and sort of covered in branches and leaves and all that type of thing. These tend to be more that sort of more dusty look, rust effects, things like that, because they're going to show through a lot better than on your standard things like that. Anyway, today, actually I've got tons and tons to do. I'm probably not going to get it all done today. I want to do a kit review, so I am going to do the Vickers Super VC10 kit, because it's something completely different and far out, and I'm going to have a look at one of the aftermarket kits for the Brazin sets for one of the 109s, the 148 scale ones, because they just look absolutely divine, and obviously we're doing things like that in bigger scales, so I thought it'd be having a look. So I'm going to hopefully get 2 of those recorded this morning, with any luck. Okay, I might not be able to have a chance to get everyone's emails and dresses and all your bits and pieces for doing the medals and that yet. I'm probably going to roll that over to Monday and things like that. The other thing I've got to do is that over there, which was pointed out to me, because to be honest I didn't realise till editing. You wait, it's not going to do it now. There it is. You see it flashing on and off? Yes, the light over there, that one. Okay, it is driving me mad. To be honest, it was fine this morning, then it started to flicker, and now we're like a scene from a horror film with it just flashing on and off. There we go. See, look, it's doing semaphore. Now the thing is, semaphore, Morse code, one of them. Okay, now I went out and bought a brand new light, which if you followed my studio tour, we was going around the other day, I showed it, because I thought it had died, because amazingly both bulbs have gone together, which seems ridiculous for them to both go at the same times, but they actually blew. So I have actually got another one of those lights upstairs as a backup. So what I'm going to do in a minute is pop up there, get the bulb out of it, come down and put it in, and we should be good to go. Right, okay, so before handling all these bulbs, if you remember when we were doing the, what were we working on now? I don't know, one of the metal finishes at aircraft, I think, or whatever it was. I'll just set the bag. But we bought some of these Mickey Mouse gloves. Okay, but the thing is, when you're handling the bulbs, you don't really want to touch them, because the oils on your hand can affect them and everything else like that. So, and also, to be honest, I imagine this is going to be quite hot. So first of all, we will turn it off. All right. So in here, this is, we'll talk about these. down to your level, although we're in the dark now. This is, if you can see it, one of these, okay? So, to be honest, this is by Lightcraft. That's the one up there, and I've had that one for 10 years-ish. Absolutely love it. The first proper light I bought, if I'm honest, and it served us for, what, 6 years, until we basically moved in here. When we came in here, we switched, and we've obviously got the big studio lights, and then we went down with light boxes and all stuff like that, and now we're into LEDs, which are failing me as well. All right, but if you're in a situation where you've got a desk, these are perfect. These are twin bulb lights. Now we're going to get one of these out. They are, depending on where you get them, anywhere between 50. I'll get this one out here. Oh, it's in the China box. Okay. See, it's so long since I've had one of these, I can't remember even what box they're in. They're roughly between 50 and 80 quid, depending on where you're getting them from. I don't know why mine's open. Okay, and I'm hoping in here, the box, we should be able to pinch a bulb out of this. So again, using a nice glove, we are just going to need one. Now I'm assuming it is the bulb and not the starter. But these ones are a little bit weird because what you need to do is twist them. But as I say, I don't want to put fingerprints on it because that can affect the bulb. Okay, but these are 15 watt daylight bulbs. If I could even get them to rotate. There we go. Okay, so literally they just rotate and then you should be able to pull them out. Okay, and that is the bulb. Say 15 watt craft light daylight bulbs. They are available as a spare because what I did was I knew I could get this one on next day, so that's what I did. I literally got it on next day delivery, had it shipped to me, and we were good to go. Okay, the bulbs turned up next day as well. I thought they'd take a bit longer. So anyway, I had 2 bulbs. We said go within the space of a day. Okay, yet that entire light lasted me for probably, because it only went last year, I think it was, we did this, but it actually lasted me well over, find somewhere to put that that's nice and safe, that lasted me well over 7 years, and those bulbs have only lasted me now a year. Okay, mind you, that said, this one is on a lot more, so this is the real one. So what we're hoping is this will come out. Bit of blue tack in here, I don't know if you can see that. That's because these things rattle. They physically rattle and it absolutely drives you mad. So, clockwise. If it isn't the bulb and it is the starter, we should be all in very good position to change. Let's take that one out. Hope the hell they're the same length. Why does that one look longer? Hold on. That's longer. How can that be longer? Are you shitting me? They changed the length of them? Okay, good bulb, bad bulb. Do you know what? It's longer. And we're talking probably 3 or 4 mil longer. How can they change the length of the bulb? That's longer. That's ridiculous. How can it be longer? Oh, welcome to my world. You're telling me they've changed the length of the bulbs in these things. So if I was to get this one, for instance, and we pop it in here, it's going to go... Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they've changed the size of the bulbs by 2 mil. So, round 2. Stick this guy back. Place in, close. was obviously, I assume, someone's ex-demo. And I won't tell you the company it came from, but they're quite a well-known one to us modelers. Yes. It's not at any point did it say it was an ex-demo. And on the other hand though, you what? Obviously in the time I've done this, they've changed everything because it looks like this guy is a different size as well. Oh. Which, yeah, they're both made. Chances to wake the day. They're calling you over, the methods are bolder. We're lost in the time now, reminding ourselves how we were always once for the breakaway. Job done. That's really annoying though. The bulbs are now different lengths, obviously between the fixings in here. Second thing that's annoying is this is obviously an ex-demonstrator because it's dusty as hell and it's got fingerprints all over it. So it's obviously been sat in someone's showroom before they repackaged it and sold it as new. That's annoying. I won't mention them, but they are, as I said, a very known, well-known hobby company. Okay, and all the rest of it. Third thing, it's more, I haven't got a Flory model sticker on it, so I'm gonna have to find a sticker. Yeah, so we want the new one and we need the old sticker on there as well. But there we go. Anyway, job one done. So now what I'm going to do, clear everything away, box this one back up, take the bulb out because it'll be a spare bulb now, and then I'll order some new bulbs for this one, and this can be a backup as well. Because to be honest, what happens with it is, if we're doing things on the desk and perhaps got you guys around, need a little bit more light, it's quite handy having another one of these just floating around so you could use it as a separate work light, things like that. So there we go. Join me a bit later and we'll see how we got on with those reviews. Okay, so that's the reviews done. I have to say, talk about kits of two halves. We've got some of the best injection moulding and resin work and everything else like that, to some of the more crudest, shall we say. But that said, I don't think it is one of those things you could have a go at. So what we've done is we've had a look at the Rodin VC10. Now don't get me wrong, it's still a lovely looking aircraft. It's just, I don't know, when you put it up against modern kits these days, they just really show their age. And when you're thinking that kit is technically 25 quid, it's a lot of money for not a lot of plastic, but it is that thing, supply and demand. It's a limited sort of kit, it's a limited market, so they're gonna have to get their money back on it. It's very nice though, recessed panel lining, and just some of the injection mouldings a little bit, sort of we say has been. The windows, for instance, they are all over the place. There's a little bit of flash, a little bit of breakage, but generally though, overall I think if you are in a market for a VC10, that is definitely the kit to go for. So Airfix, you can learn a thing or two there. The other thing is this. He said, trying to angle his camera around. This stuff is absolutely beautiful. I'm really getting in with this stuff now. I mentioned it in the review. Go and have a watch of the review for this one because it really is good. But generally, it's just the quality of the moulding, the casting of the resin, the way that the details are actually in there, and also just generally the build quality. It was always that thing years ago that when you're building anything with sort of resin, crunch, it was always that thing there, okay, you're going to have fit issues because it's going to have to shoehorn it into the kit and get it in there and everything else like that. Then you got the things of actually getting the thing together, okay. It's extremely fragile and breaking bits off and just handling it and all those things. And that's what put, I think, a lot of people off of working with resin. Nowadays though, the casting is absolutely perfect. No more holes anywhere. You don't get any sort of dodgy molds or, you know, mismold bits and pieces like you used to do, even with Aries years ago. This stuff is some of the finest details around. And even the way that now the injection molding is working. So when you're talking like parts like these going on now, if you hold them up to the light, they are so thin you can literally see straight through them. But also it has little legs now holding on. Instead of just being cast onto a block and it hangs off of it. Very fine, delicate. So when you're removing the parts now from the casting blocks, they come across and away so easy, minimal cleanup, no damage whatsoever, and very nice. But also the way the parts work together.
So like parts that are going on the engine, you've actually got proper square plugs that they actually plug into. So it's not just like 2 bits of resin and you put it on and one slightly slips and makes a mess and all the rest of it. Now you can actually use PVA glue, tiny bit of CA glue in there, touch it in, locks it in, no problem at all. But generally I've been working, as you know, with this one recently. Obviously it's a bigger scale, it's 1/32, but the quality oozes through the model. So what I say at the end of this one, to be honest, just recapping the review, is that between this and the cockpit, you've got everything you would need and going to have a stunning model. And when we say stunning, you've gone from being, okay, it's a 109 to suddenly a diorama piece. It's far more than just a kit. It's not just a model. Like, to be honest, we've got it here. You've got the Osprey. Don't get me wrong, I love this kit. It's no problem at all. But it's just a kit. Suddenly put an engine in it. So if this suddenly had Brazin engines on this thing and a tailgate system and all things like that, all of a sudden it comes from being an Osprey into something more of an interesting point, a talking point, for instance. And certainly as your eye is looking around the model, if it's just a model like that, first thing you're drawn with, to be honest, with that particular kit, let's face it, is the sails, the propellers and rotors. So you look at those and you think, crikey, they're big. And then you probably, if you're like me, you'll be drawn to somewhat of the weathering across the top and all the rest of it, then into the glass work, and then I'll move on, because that's it. I've seen everything the kit has got to offer. But with one of these sets in here, all of a sudden you've got, wow, look at that. And you've gone from looking at rotors, at glass work and all the shiny bits, doing the magpie effect, to suddenly look at that engine, look at that bit of the engine, look at that little bit of wiring detail, look at the tiny bit of weathering in there that's perhaps, and when you're looking down on here, I still look at it and spot different things, and I built the bloody thing, but that is the thing. And all of a sudden you've gone from 1, 2, moving on to suddenly you've got something you can look at, very impressive. The great thing about this though, and what Edard's really stepped up to, is doing it in a way that is easy to build. So it's easy to put this stuff together now because it's not fragile anymore. It doesn't break. Okay, you can literally bend this stuff around before it breaks. If it does break, you just super glue it back together and it's easy. Building it is very good. The instructions, yeah, okay, I still think they could be better done. But, if you're halfway there, you're halfway good with your modelling, you're going to know what roughly they're on about, okay? But, as I explained in the review, go off and read the instructions for an hour before you start, read the kit instructions, work out your best way of doing it, not necessarily theirs, and all the way through. But these guys, I have to say, are my thing at the moment. We all have fads, we all go through things that you like. All of a sudden it might be like aftermarket tracks by Flory, or there's some company that comes along that all of a sudden goes through it. I remember HGW when they were coming out with the seatbelts and that. At that point I was in love with them and I thought they were great. I still do, but this is definitely my thing at the moment. After working with this and seeing how easy it goes together, how easy it fits to the aircraft, okay, and stuff like that, all of a sudden it's become something that of like almost a must. And as you're watching this, I am going to be doing a 109 not that far away, purely because I love this stuff. We've got the G6, and to be honest, I've got the G6 cockpit. I've also got the G5 engine and the G5 cockpit as well. So it is all those things that they've released now, and I'm thinking, if I'm going to do a 109, we're going to do it. We're going to downscale. We've done a 32nd 190. We're going to do a 48th 109. And we're going to add all this to it because it is absolutely stunning, and we'll have a lovely, beautiful, small model, highly detailed, for minimal work, and that's the point. So don't forget, unless you're a real martyr, if you're like me, when you're modelling, you're trying to do as much detail for as less work. Okay, so you get more bang for your buck, okay? I don't want to have to be in there scratch building and taking them and making fit problems, and I'm really working really hard to make something work. I want to just put it together, paint, weather it, drop it into a kit, and have something stunning at the end of the day. I mean, unless you are a martyr, I think we're all a little bit like that. This stuff is enabling us to do it, so it's working really, really well. So what I'm going to do is get a load more of these in, because I love them, okay, and we're going to start adding them to all our builds we're doing. So anyway, that is it for now. I'll catch you on tonight's show. Go and have a look at this one though. If you are interested and you want a beautiful looking aircraft, then obviously have a look at the VC10, because it is real worth a kit. Okay, it's well worth having a go. Airfix, step up, let's have a good one, okay, and all the rest of it. So there we go. So I'll catch you later. What I'm going to do now is get these edited, hopefully get them both edited today, and they'll both be up this afternoon, and then I'm going to be cracking on obviously with tonight's show. So what we're going to also do is pick one lucky person, and even I don't know who he is yet, and I'm going to go right the way through your work in progress thread. So we're going to go right the way through that, and if this has all worked and I've timed it well, after we go back to the studio, we're going to go and have a look at your work and go through all the photos of your build to your final reveal, and then we can get the rest of your guys, you know, from this week and a little bit from last week. Sorry, didn't have it last week, and we'll get them up there like that. But anyway, that's my day, and I'll catch you all later.
So yes, 2 great reviews up for you. As you say, Ron kindly lent me his the Roden VC10. Again, it's one of those things, I watch it back, especially after editing it. I'm hypercritical of a kit as it sits here on a green mat. Then I have time to think about it and you absorb it and I watch it back. And yeah, I'm probably quite harsh on the kit, purely because, I don't know, it's just that level of finishing off isn't quite there. And in this day and age, you would think with, you know, modern manufacturing skills and everything else like that, perhaps just cleaning up the parts would be nice, and all the rest of it. But, you know, obviously things are done to a price. That's the price they release them on. It is a sort of niche subject and everything else like that. And Roden definitely do that type of thing. But it is nice. It's extremely... Yeah, the panel lines are very, very crisp on it. The details are very nice on that one. And as I say, it is the queen of the skies, quite frankly. It's a lovely looking aircraft and all the rest of it. I was fortunate enough to stand like literally 3 feet from one for a while. I don't know if you guys remember, but from the International Air Steel when they were leaving, I had one parked next to me, literally just sat there waiting to taxi for absolutely ages, or it seemed like it, which was great because it's blocking all my photographing. Anyway, the other thing we've got up is the Brezen stuff. Now this I've harped on about on the vlog, you saw it in the review, and now I'm going to do it again now. This is definitely my thing of the moment. I love this. It's one of those things where you could almost just go out and buy them all, because you know they're going to be fantastic. I'm probably never going to get around to building them all, but the quality, that's the thing with this. It's a quality product. It's one of those things where you know, when you look at things, and I'm just the same as everybody else, I look at it and I think, okay, is it worth the bang for the buck? I.e., is it worth that amount of money for that type of what you're going to get with it? So the way I look at it, you break it down to a couple of factors. You know, the time involved with it. If it's something that's going to be a quick fix and it's on there, is it really worth spending a fortune on it? If it takes a little bit of time and it's part of your hobby and developing it, then absolutely. Okay, this is nice. It's going to take a little bit of time to put together and everything else, so it's well worth the money. The other thing as well is anyone going to see it? You know, wheel wells, I still believe, are probably the biggest waste of money on the planet. Unless you're standing it upside down or on a mirror, or going to stand there all day and say, have you seen my wheel wells? Because I quite like those, they're very nice. No one's going to see it, no one's really going to care about it. But you got an engine open on a World War II fighter sat on that table at home, wherever it is, or just photos on the net, people are going to look at it and scrutinize it. So the thing is, if you've got extremely nice, clean, crisp casting, it makes your job as a modeler so much easier. If it's horrible and it's got, like, you know, the wiring just sort of stops and it's, you know, you've got bubbles and it sort of shows it, it's like almost cringeworthy. You just want to hide it away. But when it's this good, you want to show it off, okay? You want to get it out there and everything else like that. The other point as well is that, is it going to be easy? Is it in your skill set? Okay, because we've all done it. We've all gone out and bought engines and cockpits and whatever, and they've been a nightmare to install. You've had to sand and fit and test fit, and you're in there with the super glue or the 3-minute epoxy or whatever, and it drives you mad. And you're saying to yourself, why am I bothering with this? I could have just done it this way, or should have done it that way. This stuff does work. It's extremely well engineered. It's literally now click fit stuff. Working on the engines, as we spoke about in the review, working on this 1/32 stuff, I know this stuff will go equally as well, but it's no longer is it just 2 bits of resin that sit together and then slide and move out of position. This stuff is like, you know, sockets, so it actually goes inside and it locks and it holds and it's in the correct angles and all the bits and pieces like that. It's beautiful stuff. And also literally things like casting blocks and stuff like that, they are so easy to remove now, because gone are those days where it's just a casting block hanging off the part and you have to be careful about where you go to. These have tiniest little gates to it, just like injection molding, and it really does work. So I must admit, I am very, very impressed with this stuff, and I'm falling in love with it. It's now my best thing, and I'll be honest, I've bought a few of these types of things purely because I see it out and think, oh, that'd be good, I'll have one of them. Because I know it's going to be great, and I think they're a very worthy upgrade to any model kit, because you don't need to be a master at it. Anybody with average modelling skills can work with that and turn it into absolutely stunning. Whereas before, you always needed to have that little bit extra to make it fit and work and everything else. These guys, they've made it very, very simple, and that's what's great about it. Anyway, being Friday, it's time to have a look around the forum. Hello, welcome to Flory Models Forum. Okay, so here we are down in here. A couple of things we do need to point out right down at the bottom. We'll scroll right down in here, the work in progress. Okay, this has all been tidied up and cleaned up and everything now. So all your build threads that were part of your group builds have now gone back in the Revenant category. Okay, so it's gone into like aircraft armor or whatever for those, all right? But the actual final reveals are down in here. Okay, so you just click on I must be an animal. And there they all are. It's all down there, okay? Then what I'll do is, as I do the full reveal video and all the bits and pieces, I'll link it into this as well, okay? But that's exactly where they all are down in there, for those who are asking. Now, the big thing we do have to talk about is the Best of British, which we've actually got the heavy metal armour SIG that's actually starting on tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? 25th. Oh, usually we start on a Sunday. Okay, but we're starting tomorrow. Okay, on the 25th. Going to run to the 15th of October. Okay, we've got quite a bit of interest in on that one there for all the guys. That'll be totally opened up for you tomorrow. And as you might remember, let's just pop up to the top again. If I go into my little thing from Wednesday, you've had 2 days worth of voting. And I haven't voted on this, as you can see. So we're going to go view poll results, and this will be for the winner. There we go, 74% of the actual vote goes for the Mark 10. So I am going to do it in the Berlin one. I know a load of you are saying, yeah, but it's the same as everybody else's. But as I said before, it'd be nice because I can show my way of doing it. Everyone has different ways of doing it. And obviously, I'm going to show you my way of doing it. Okay, so that'll be my build. I'm going to be doing the Chieftain Mark 10 in the Berlin markings. Okay, so I'm actually looking forward to that. And I may even get a little bit started next week. Not too sure. Okay, so if we go back into the forum itself, and down there again, sorry for all the jiggling about, then obviously 1st of July we've got the Big in Japan one that's going to start. That is going to be absolutely huge. If you thought the last group build was going to be impressive, this one is going to be something else. Okay, so that's just the two we got down there at the moment. Then obviously up here still we've got running, and this is actually going to finish on Sunday, is the Seeing Double. So this is all the two-seater cockpit type things for the aircraft SIG. That one is going to end. We've got 22 completed, 57 on the go. So if you haven't, get on with it, guys. Let's get these pushed through. I've got a couple more days left on this. It'd be really nice. And again, I'll do the full reveal video and all the bits and pieces just like that. Okay, so that's really going on in here. Everything's pretty straightforward. Everyone's behaving themselves. Thank you very much for everything. Okay, now a little something a bit different. Each week I'm going to pick somebody at random from your reveal photos for that week, and I'm going to go off and go right the way through your build thread. And as I say, it's completely at random. So that way we can get a good idea of exactly how you do your builds and various things. So this particular one is going to fall to, yes, Chris Fleet. He's been working on the new tool, completely new, Airfix 148 Gloucester Meteor. This is the F8 variant, okay, and he's done an absolutely beautiful build on this one that we'll see in a moment. Okay, but I thought we'd have a bit of a swing by his actual build thread. And as I say, nice thing about this one that I liked about it, nice, clean, clear shots. It's always nice to see it through. You know, so actually going through and we can see exactly how he's been doing it. And nice little reference photos as well. You guys obviously interacting with him, giving him all the encouragement, telling him what bad job he's doing. No, I'm only joking. But it's nice little things about this particular build that took my eye, is showing exactly how he does it with beautiful, nice, clean, clear photographs. And that is the difference between a nice, you know, don't get me wrong, build thread and a really exceptional one. Having that good, clean photo with a nice, good background really does help out. And I must admit, I have been following along on this one. I know I don't mention on them all, but this one really took my eye, especially using them bloody awful clamps. But there we go. Somewhat required, needed. Okay, bit of filler down in there, as we know, and it's nice to see how rough your kit looks. It's not just me who makes a complete hash of it, and they look rough as hell and scratchy, but it's surprising how they come back, and this is definitely one of those kits. But as you can see, nice little bit of aftermarket resin going in there as well, right the way through, as you can see, starting to take shape. And then as we can see, getting in there with the engine work, seam checking, all the bits and pieces we talk about, getting those wing tops installed and in. It's quite a basic engine. I'm surprised, well, I will be surprised if an aftermarket one doesn't become available. Some beautifully done one. But you can see engines down in there, a little bit of gap filling required, which is a shame really on modern kits. You really shouldn't see too much of it, but nicely taken care of. Okay, really looking the part, looking very sharp. Okay, down into the primer. Okay, so Steinor primer. I don't know if he's been having trouble with it. And some H332 down onto that one. Okay, and then into the actual colour, which is that sort of buff grey colour. Aluminium AK Extreme on the tanks. Okay, nice little work on that. And then this is the bit which really takes my eye on these things. I love this colour scheme underneath. It looks really, really nice with the chevron type markings down under there. Really makes it pop, makes it jump. Okay, and then that's it with the decals on. As I say, these Dayglow decals, making it all the way onto it and everything else like that. Looking around and say it's a really impressive aircraft. I know a lot of people were like, a different wrong version, blah blah blah, and all the rest of it. It looks nice to me. I really like it, and I loved it in these markings. I must admit, when I first saw him doing it, I thought, yeah, I like that. That's really nice, nice eye catching, with the sort of the toe tug markings. And as you say, there we go. Looking down on there, looking very smart, very nice indeed. And then obviously you guys were commenting on about it, and then here we have it. This is the final one. Absolutely fantastic. So this is what we're talking about as well, guys. It made it nice and easy for me. It's got a good description. It shows obviously about the kit, the paints used, okay, down there, and everything else. Okay, the aftermarket that was used as well, okay, and the decal with the part number. It makes it really simple. And then he's got the build thread just down like this, which means I click on it and off we went. It was that simple. So it's really nice when guys are looking through, get inspired, they see something else like this, and then literally bang, you're in, and you can go straight through someone's build thread, get an idea, think if it's the kit for you. See if you might want to add more to it, or you just want to do a straightforward out of the box. Totally your choice. But that way you can have a skim through and then obviously take inspiration, ideas, steal it, whatever you want to do to be inspired to bring on your own build. And that's what I love about it. Okay, and as you can see, some nice, good, clean shots. And I know I said I wasn't a fan of this particular white sterile background. With the Dayglow, it actually works very well on this one, I have to say. Okay, I must admit, I just prefer the more, sort of toned, the more of the clash. But again, when you're talking with like this, with the black and the yellow and the Dayglow, it doesn't matter what you're photographing it on really. But you can see some very nice, very clean, sharp images right the way through, just like that. And I love that photo. That's an absolutely stunning photo, that one. Very nice, clean, crisp, and it's all about the light. So well done, Chris. You actually get our little no prize. Just a massive pat on the back and kudos for a fantastic build thread and a fantastic build of that one just there. Okay, just before we go for today, Flo. Flo's made her way over to Ralph, who's been putting up with her this week and getting up to her antics. So you can see she arrived all very safely and everything else. There she is with Ralph, and generally causing merry hell probably. God, don't let her near one of them. Don't let her sit on your shelf, that's a bad idea. Cool drinks and everything else. I'm surprised she's not going to come back the size of a small, house, because the amount of food she must be eating. As I say, great job, guys. And the thing is with Ralph, what's really nice is Ralph's been taking her out and about to meet all the guys, the local IPMS chapters, which is absolutely lovely. Seeing her with there and you guys all getting involved. Spot of golf, which is something she hasn't done, which is amazing because my dad actually is quite a keen golfer, but I've never been dragged along to that one, so I've avoided it. And then, this is Ralph seeing Jeff, so our very own Jeff Williams. So it's nice that you guys are all getting together and sharing Flo around and all the bits and pieces. Worthy medals. You have to collect the new ones now. We have the new centres in them for Flory models and everything else like that. And I think that was it. No, Flo's still eating barbecued food. Can't blame her. And on a beer. See, well done. Thank you for filling in the little card as well and everything else like that. So hopefully we'll see Flo making her way off to her next port of call. There she is, all boxed up, ready to go. And she'll be making her way on her travels again. So there we go. That's about it for this week, guys. Thank you for joining us in the forum. Okay, so there we go. That's it for this week, everybody. Just remember, you got one more week with me, and then you get peace for an entire week, so I won't be here. So next week, I've got big plans Monday, Tuesday, and then obviously Wednesday, Thursday, and all the rest of it. We're going to be just doing editing, so you've got plenty of stuff to see next week. But hopefully what we're going to have is 2 more or 3 more parts at least for the actual FW190. So we're thinking the prop section and all of that off the front, the wheel wells, okay, and things like that, and the gun deck. I want to get all 3 of those if I can next week. They're quite small, quite thing. I think they're 1-day jobs. Go through, and obviously you're going to have the last part of the Osprey up with you next week as well. Then on Friday, round about sort of midday, the store for Flory models will be closed. So will new subscriptions. Okay, now it's only closing for the week. I know I said about the stores closing, and everyone thought and run out and probably bought loads of Sanders. Had a great week on Sanders, but literally it's only the week. Okay, so it's going to close midday on Friday. and it will reopen the following Monday, which is like the 11th or something. Okay, so then that way, and then we'll go through. But there's what usually happens: people order and then they don't read it, and they say, "Oh, yeah, I haven't had my sanders," and all the rest of it, or it took a week. Well, it's because we weren't here. Okay, so we're going to close the site, but also we're going to close it to subscribers. So if you are fancying joining up to Flory Models, okay, sign up in the next week, and you have no problem at all, because you won't be able to do it when we're away, because we're actually going to close the site down. But obviously, members, you'll still be able to see all the bits and pieces, the forums, and all the builds, and all the videos, and everything else like that. That'll still be up there. And then what will happen is Monday the 11th, I will turn it all back on, and you can sign up and subscribe. You can then come along and order all your bits and pieces like that. Same goes if you have a payment problem, PayPal cancels your account, your subscriptions, whatever, don't panic, nothing will happen. Simple as that, because the system will be shut down as well, so nobody will come in, but then nobody will go out either, so you have no problems at all with it. But as I say, you've got a whole week, and you've still got me for another week until then, because I'll do a Friday vlog, obviously as normal, next Friday, and then we leave nice and, well, a reasonable time for us, about 8 o'clock in the morning, because we're going to the airport, and it's only 10 minutes down the road from us, so it's a nice easy one. So there we go, that's it from us this week. Thank you for joining me and everything else. Thank you for following me along with the builds, and thank you again for all your kind feedback and everything else in the forum. It's much appreciated, because it really invigorates me. It sort of gets me going, inspires me to do better, more, and everything else that I can for you guys. So there we go, happy modelling, take care.
Calling you over, my head on your shoulder. Familiar faces prolong the embraces. We were always one toward the breakaway, but we're nearing chances to wake the day.